Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady checking in with a weekly garden tour, and this week I have extra special big news I can't wait to share. So let's get started. I wanted to start with the wave because I've been watering it a lot and I'm hoping that maybe we're going to get some more rain today, but I wanted to show you how much these Seminole pumpkins have grown in a week. This is going to be such an awesome ground cover filled with pumpkins. Now I have been harvesting some squash and zucchini, but the borers are quickly getting to them. And I don't have any great wisdom on borers other than I just sow a lot of seed over a long period of time. And I get some fruiting from every plant, but not a lot. And then the borers get it. This is the first sign. See how the leaves are wilting, but you know, you can see there's so much damage that, you know, the insects are inside and they're just kind of zapping it. So, you know, just have low expectations. I think sometimes disappointments in the garden are because we have the wrong expectations of a plant's performance. And in the case of squash and zucchini, I think it's okay to just plan that this is going to happen. I'm still getting fruit though, so that's been nice. I really like green zucchini in particular. I'm happy to see these plants still look good, but you can see they've already gotten munched on and they are getting munched on. That is precisely what squash borers do. So these won't look good for much longer, but I'll probably get another fruit from this one. However, in contrast, the borers do not bother the Seminole pumpkin, and Seminole pumpkin does not get powdery mildew. This leaf variegation is not mildew, it's on purpose. It's so beautiful. And you know, the stems are totally clear of any squash or borer damage. I grew these last year and I was just floored that they were never impacted by the squash borers that get the zucchini and the yellow squash. Now another plant to note in this border, it's grown so much this week because it's been really hot, is the sesame. And you see all those pods, that's where sesame seeds come from. And these were self-sown. I didn't even sow these out here. I'm really happy that they germinated, and after getting this bed fertilized and weeded of most of the barley, I'm so pleased to see the growth and development, and I cannot wait until this whole thing is a ground cover of the Seminole pumpkin. It's like all my wildest dreams coming true. So speaking of wildest dreams, I'm so excited, you guys. It's like the first time I've had anything tangible to be excited about since the pandemic started. My entire business failed, like super failed as a result of COVID. You know, my business model was traveling to faraway places to give gardening talks to generally older people in small dark rooms. And no part of that is COVID safe, right? And my dream beyond that was to buy a property and renovate it and start a garden retreat center so that I could travel less and bring people to me and I could teach gardening lessons. Well, I didn't think that that would ever come true because I, you know, really freaked out about the hospitality industry after the pandemic and like how unsustainable it is. But an amazing opportunity has poked up this week. So this is our neighbor's house where my child labor force used to live. They have moved, but they get off a school bus here, so I still see them. It's awesome. But the current owner has decided that he would like for us to be able to buy it from him. He's doing all the renovations on the house per our spec, and we will take ownership in early 2022, and we're going to run it as an Airbnb where I offer gardening experiences through the app, at least to get started, because this feels like a really big step and I don't always know how to run a business properly. But I'm super stoked, and that means that I'll have a whole new space to start gardening, and I'm gonna help with the renovations. So I was gonna think about maybe making a new YouTube in addition to Bree the Plant Lady, featuring like all the projects that happen here, both indoors and outdoors. I'm literally over the moon excited, and I'm super sad because I actually have a really busy fall. Although with the variants and stuff, I wouldn't rule out that everything will get canceled. But I'm so happy to have something to focus my time and energy on, and it's literally right next door because there's my house. So I just I can't wait to share this journey with all of you, and it's gonna be super fun. So back to the garden tour. The foundation bed is really finally starting to pick up. I swear this week we were like, you know, heat index of over 100 every day. It didn't rain a drop here. I have been watering, that's why there are hoses everywhere. But this bed has just suddenly like filled in. There's a few gaps that I think I am going to strategically scatter some seed. Like I think I'm gonna do some clumps of wheat in a few of these openings so that it will actually potentially be blooming for the October 9th open house. But for the most part, everything is filling in. There's a lot of flowers still to come. None of the floret dahlias have started, but they're starting to get flower buds, so that's good. And I will say this dahlia, which I bought from Aldi, has just been fantastic. There's a burgundy one down there, but this sort of yellow and pink one has really been fabulous. But overall, I'm super stoked with how this bed looks, and there's so much butterfly activity right now. Actually, Sophia's really bad, although I don't think she's been catching them as much. She just sits and watches them. She still makes me nervous. The Thailand giants are getting like crazy big. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Like, it's not the size of the Prius, but you can totally use it to hide the cars from the view when you take a picture. And I have to say, these 3 containerized tomatoes are the most extraordinary that I have, and I think it's because they don't get any rain ever, and they get watered a lot. This is a Mountain Fresh, I think, is the variety here, and there are so many unripe fruit. I mean, so many. It's so impressive. Again, doesn't get any rain. And then these 2 tomatoes over there, and this enormous one, these are Gin Fizz. And my friend Richard Todd gave these to me, and boy, these are awesome. Now, I mean, look at how happy these containers are. They are planted in straight soil cube, and they get watered every day, and they don't get any rain. I swear in North Carolina, the trick to tomatoes is not letting them get rained on. If I had like a poly house, I could probably grow tomatoes fine. But I wanted to show you, look at this giant one. Look at that. Haha, that's Gin Fizz. I cannot wait for it to ripen. This is like a whitish tomato, so it doesn't turn red, but it's still not ripe. You can tell these off-color tomatoes, if they're not soft, they're not ripe. So that's how you tell when a tomato doesn't turn red. Now, these actually do get rained on, and they've suffered a little, but they're also doing really well. So this is San Marzano, and there's a lot of fruit on that as well, and that's in that pot. But yeah, look at all the fruit. Of course, because the tomato tasting is over, and I had to buy tomatoes for that. So now my tomatoes will start to be really fruitful, because that's how it works. And oh, I see this branch fell. I need to restake that. I think this is Lucky Tiger, and it's doing great again in that same large crescent pot. And then the black Madras rice in these pots with no holes looks awesome. And I can't wait to show you the rice on the back porch. because it's starting to flower. You know, my rule for putting high maintenance containers adjacent to a hose, right there, is definitely working out and showing off. So my driveway pots, I think, driveway and across the front porch pots are definitely the best that I've ever done. And it's totally because of the convenient location. I have not gotten a single fruit from this, but this is Brad's Atomic Grape. Look at all the flowers, it's amazing. But so far all the plants have slowly died from southern wilt, so we'll see. This is the last one left. It's planted in the ground. It doesn't get rained on here, but that hasn't stopped the disease from killing everything else. Guys, there's a monarch. I love them so much. And they love zinnias. Zinnias, I think, are the simplest thing that you can grow in your summer garden to enhance the life of pollinators. Birds, bees, wasps, moths, butterflies. It's just endless, the opportunities that zinnias will offer. And these are just self-sown. Most of my self-sown varieties turn out to be this kind of pink. The new cultivars that I sowed, I can't wait to show them to you because they're so pretty. So we'll walk over there. I could chase monarchs all day. So I wanted to show you my sweet potato arch. It's almost meeting, and I bet by next week this will be mostly covered. Oh my gosh, you guys, the mosquitoes are so bad. We got a little bit of rain today and now it's so hot. I hope we get more. But this back border is just like electrified. This is the best our lawn has ever looked. Probably because it hasn't been that wet this week, but overall we're having a wet year. And I want to show you the new flush of pretty Parasols Echinacea. And I really like it with that, you know, onion line. That helps keep some of the animals from eating it because deer and rabbits love Echinacea. And I love this peanut Sasanqua Camellia combo. That'll be blooming in a couple months, but you can see there's lots of flower buds forming. This is, I think, October Magic Ivory, one from the Southern Living Plant Collection, bred by my good friend Bobby Green, who I'm looking forward to seeing in October. Hopefully that meeting won't get canceled. And the buckwheat. It's a little wild there. I'm going to do some cutbacks. But it's like exceeding all my expectations. And I've grown buckwheat for many years. I don't know, it's just so charming. I absolutely adore this plant. I love how it fills in like baby's breath. Remember, the whole bed was planted by direct seeding on July 3rd. So I just think it's remarkable what has developed with very low maintenance. I mean, here's the deal. I'm not doing anything really in the garden, so I can't make a bunch of videos because at this time I'm just enjoying these summer beds and I don't have to do anything. It's like people always ask, you know, how much maintenance does it take? It doesn't actually take that much maintenance, almost to a fault, because I like being able to stay busy and I enjoy making videos. But, you know, I'm not doing anything right now other than walking around and taking pictures. Oh, you guys, the helianthus, I think this is Lemon Queen, is blooming and the butterflies adore it. It's so nice to have this back here. It's never done better. We did do some tree trimming early in the season and it's blooming so well, but I think that is also because it has been wet, and back here it stays pretty wet. And the pumpkin patch is doing wonderfully. Like, it's growing all up through the limelight and over into the witch hazel, and I'm going to train it to go up into the peach. So I'll have pumpkins hanging from a peach tree. That seems reasonable. Now this has been a pollinator magnet of a corner here. And this is a mix of self-sown and varieties that I bought of zinnias, and I really think I like the varieties I bought. I feel like that's where this really interesting color is coming from. You know, like these kind of richer hues. I really like this. You know, compared to that, which is fine, it's just really shrill. I really like this color. Of course, there's lots of orange and other stuff mixed in, but I think there is something to be said for buying some new varieties just to keep it interesting. A lot of these on this corner, these are all self-sown, and they're doing great, and I love them. I'm not saying I don't. It's just that, I don't know, there's something to be said about these new colors, and wait until you see some of the other Queen Lime varieties. Oh my God, they're to die for. They're so beautiful. I've got a whole bunch of sunflowers that are going to be blooming soon. You see, they've got their flower buds. And over here, again, tons of tomatoes. I will be busy canning. Lots and lots and lots of tomatoes. And I'm still harvesting cucumbers. Doing a great cucumber year. And it's nice to not have to water everything today, because we got that. I mean, we had a downpour for like 5 minutes. It wasn't a ton of rain, but it helped. And look at this. So it's Evita. I think it's Sinningia, although I don't know. It may have had a genus name change. I'll check. But you see how it just sort of takes over this corner? Totally masks, or I think enhances the bottle wall. I think it looks cool. It's a beautiful flower. Hummingbirds really enjoy it. Now the back of the fire pit pathway is looking awesome. So the Tithonias are finally starting to bloom, and you can see this ground cover of the Treasure Island sweet potatoes mixed with self-sown arugula, and then, you know, asparagus, sunflowers, and Tithonia popping up out of it with a backdrop of hardy banana, Musa velutina, and then all of these tomato pots that were done the last week of June. I'm telling you, maybe my trick is just late planting tomatoes and I avoid some of the issues with southern wilt. These look awesome. I'm gonna have a whole bunch of tomatoes on my hands. I'm gonna need to have a tomato tasting at the fall open house. So I don't feel like as much of a failure as I did earlier in the season. I love Tithonia. Absolutely love it. It's just the coolest plant. I think these were treated with a growth regulator at the nursery I bought them from. Because when I grow them from seed, they're much taller and more open. These, maybe it's a new variety, I don't know. It wasn't labeled. It's just unusual for these to have such a compact habit, and they're all like it. I mean, you know, they all have like one flower open right now, but you see how well branched they are, but you know, they're only like 3 foot tall. Usually these are like 8 or 9 foot tall, kind of weird and awkward. So I'm not complaining. It's just an observation that I don't quite have an answer for yet. And I do love self-sown zinnias, so don't get me wrong. I leave them everywhere. But over here, I'm going to show you some of the new cultivars that I'm really impressed by. So these are, I don't actually remember the name. I feel like these are a Queen Lime something, but I didn't do a good job noting it. But isn't that such a pretty color? Got to focus. And then, you know, the more doubles. And so far, the foliage is super clean on all of these. I have a few that are like candy striped in here, which I really like. Here's one that looks better than that. And, you know, the feed tank bed is awesome. When you actually get in here, you're totally surrounded by the plants. And you see over there, the peanuts have completely grown in, almost covering the entryway, but you can step over it. You do need to get in and clean it. And then here's some more of these zinnias that, these are definitely varieties that I bought. Probably from like Home Depot. I think I bought all my zinnias from common local places. So probably Home Depot or Lowe's. Now here's one that's starting to show some mildew. But in general, I'm not offended by mildew on zinnias because, you know, I'm growing them for the flower. And I haven't really made a lot of flower arrangements, but I will be soon. In contrast, these are self-sown. I don't know why it won't focus. There we go. And they're great. It's just, I really like these more peachy colors in comparison to this bright pink. And that brings me over here to Queen Limey Blush. Queen Lime Blush. And there's been some different traits showing up in these. So there's some singles, which I think are still really pretty. And of course, single zinnias benefit pollinators more. And you can see lots of mildew starting here on all these yellow squash. But they've been very productive, and you know, when they come out, which I'm not going to take them out until, you know, they start wilting and look terrible. But there's plenty of things in here to compensate, including sweet potatoes and peanuts that will just fill in the gap when those get pulled out. But here are those really amazing doubles, the Queen Lime Blush. So down there is the very first flower that opened like a month ago. It still looks perfect. But you can see all these new ones that have started to open. They're just extraordinary. I really love them mixed in with the okra, which I probably need to harvest. A quick shot here of the succulent table, doing fabulous. And I wanted to show you the rice is blooming. So this is a variety called Rex. And you see how it's wind pollinated, so it sets these anthers, and wind pollination is why things like grains do so well. They set so many seed because it's not dependent on an insect to do anything. It's just depending on the air moving a little, and it works really efficiently. So this is the one that I did as a demo during a YouTube live for the Ralston Arboretum back in like probably around the 24th of April. And I direct seeded it in soil cube in this solid bottom pot from IKEA. And it's been growing here on the brick southwest facing patio all summer, just keeping it filled with water. And yeah, it's the first one to bloom. I have a lot more rice in containers that isn't this advanced, but it's directly related to your sow date. So, you know, certain varieties will mature, or they will start to set seed in like 70 or 85 days. And that's information that you find on your seed packet. Well, I'm really sweating. I'm hoping we're gonna get more rain. And I feel like this has maybe been a really long garden tour. It's just, everything looks so pretty. I wanted to share it with you all. And I'm so excited to have this new thing to focus on, especially moving into 2022. It feels like it's been a really long time since I had a goal to work towards. So I'm really grateful for that, and hope you'll send me good vibes and get this project, you know, moving forward sooner than later. And I do look forward to giving you more tour updates real quick. I know when the seasons are changing because the Lycoris start to bloom. And these, of course, are Lycoris radiata. And I just, you know, I adore these plants so much. They're also called naked lilies or naked ladies because they flower without any foliage, and then the foliage develops through the winter season. If you've never grown them before, I would recommend them highly. I think they're like zone 6 through 9. And I am just wishing you all the best this week, and I appreciate you watching these garden tours. Take care, everybody.